weird stuff. Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well. I want to start things off by thanking Ocean Drive Studio for sponsoring this video. As always, I get a lot of sponsorship offers literally every single day, but I only accept the ones for games that I can genuinely recommend and only under the condition that I can be completely honest with my opinions. And once in a blue moon, along comes a game like Lost Eidolons: Veil of the Witch, which is available right now on Nintendo Switch, Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. Hit the link in the description to learn more. Ocean Drive Studio gave me a code and asked me to give the game a go and give you all my impressions, so that is what we're going to do. Here we go. Lost Eidolons: Veil of the Witch is a tactical RPG roguelite. So think something like Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, that kind of thing, except with a roguelite spin. And when I was first reading up on the game, I was thinking like, okay, so it's a tactics game, but like when you die, you gotta start over. Like, okay, fine. But no, I've been really surprised by how cleverly the team has married these two ideas. How the roguelite elements make for such a unique experience in the tactics space. The kind of experience I've really not had before. Instead of just making your way through a series of battles or even using a world map or something like that, you pick your crew and you set off on an expedition. And then from there, you are constantly faced with these forks in the road. There are always several paths to choose from, and the game will tell you what kinds of activities you can expect to find down each path, what kinds of resources you can hope to gain. There will be NPCs to talk to, and shops, and camps to heal at, and all sorts of stuff. There's even like fun little weird mystery things where there's like a risk and reward system. You can kind of like roll for some bonus, but there could be a downside if you don't get it right. There's just a lot of different weird little things to interact with. And every expedition is completely randomized, so like every time you play, it's going to be a unique experience. You can kind of pick and choose based on what you think you might need, kind of like strategizing early on what resources do you want to prioritize. And it also gives the game a real sense of narrative progression, and you really do feel like you're a little team making your way through the world. So the randomization element is already interesting, but then to really start getting into how the roguelite elements make for such a unique experience, you see, I love RPGs, but I am often really, really overwhelmed by the task of like micromanaging my characters and all of their abilities and their gear and everything. But here, all of the characters have their base stats and abilities and equipment and all that stuff. And then you just kind of like pick up stuff as you go. There's so much less of a focus on outfitting and training these individual units because as you travel, as you gain, like pretty much everything you gain is just going to be some bonus or some new ability or resources to gain those things. You get the satisfaction of creating and experimenting with these unique builds every run, but there's a certain simplicity to it. I'm simply adding on to what I have as I go, so I never feel overwhelmed. For example, whenever you stop at a shop, instead of buying a bunch of individual gear and items and stuff, pretty much all the stuff you buy is going to be bonuses in some form or another, or resources. There are blessings and curses that stick with your characters. There are relics that have these global effects. And then here's a really good example. You gain resonance stones, and basically every piece of equipment has 3 slots for these stones. Using a stone on a piece of equipment raises its stats, and then the more stones you have equipped, you open up new abilities. So again, you get the satisfaction of building and growing stronger, and even choosing where you want to use these resonance stones, but there's still a certain simplicity to it. You just kind of throw it on there, and then it's stronger, and then you keep going. But my absolute favorite example, and I feel the best way that the game mixes roguelite elements into the tactics genre, is as your characters fight, they will class up, and whenever they gain a level, you get to roll for a new ability or a stat boost. It's that standard roguelite thing where you get to pick between perks, but I love it because it's happening all the time, and it's happening right there in battle. So on the fly, you're making these decisions about what stats you might want to boost, how you want to build your character, or what new abilities you would like them to have. Whereas in traditional RPGs and tactics games, the biggest changes to your characters are going to occur between battles or after battles. Here they just happen. You're in the middle of things and suddenly your character has some new bonus or fun move to play with, which just feels so fresh and interesting to me. And because this is a roguelite, and because your character's stats and abilities reset back to default at the end of an expedition, that really raises the ceiling on the kinds of abilities and boosts that the game is willing to give you. A traditional RPG where anytime you gain a new ability or item, like you get to just kind of have it forever, so like they have to really make sure they don't give you anything too overpowered. But here, the game experiments with a lot more weird stuff. Just a lot of really cool abilities. And yeah, between classing up and all the stuff that you get, there's just so many fun bonuses, you know, some global effects, or just like a move that does a certain thing, or just like these if-then things. Whenever you get to do this, you get a bonus for this. Like, it's all kind of standard stuff, but it's just so interesting seeing it in this setting. So you pick your paths and you do your battles and you slowly build up your characters, but HP carries over from battle to battle. And if a unit dies mid-battle, then they will resurrect for the next one with really low HP. So you've always got to be really, really cognizant of HP. You have to really, like, aggressively utilize your healers, like, at every opportunity. And if all your units get knocked out, or there's, you know, some other defeat condition, then the expedition ends and, you know, you lose all of the bonuses and things that you have accumulated. You reset back to default. And I am always very wary of roguelites. I really don't play a lot of them. I absolutely cannot stand losing progress. But fortunately, this is one of those ones where you are expected to lose. You're not expected to get to the end of every expedition. And there's actually a lot of stuff that carries over. You know, doing lots of expeditions, it all is built into the story. There's a complete, like, lore reason for all of it. The characters are all aware of this. And on that note, the story is pretty fun. You know, I like it. There's some fun writing. The world building is pretty cool. And if you're not into that kind of thing, apparently the story is really not necessary in the slightest. You could skip it all if you want to. So it's nice that you've got the option there. But yeah, so like you've got a consistent story the entire time. The main character has like amnesia, so you're also like slowly unlocking this character's memories. You can unlock new characters, and whenever you do, they are permanently added to the roster. The characters gain relationship as you go. You can like promote the characters, and this is all stuff that is persistent, always carries over. But the best part is the Altar of Fire. This is the kind of thing that I want in every single roguelite game ever. You gain sacred embers, that's one of your, resources, and you spend them here on what is essentially a skill tree. Like, you just unlock stat boosts and bonuses and whatnot, and this is completely persistent. So no matter what, no matter how many expeditions you do, you are always making like real tangible progress. You're always getting that much stronger. And when you add all this together, the expeditions being so randomized, the bonuses are so fun, and you acquire them so constantly, there's always this desire to just like keep going and keep experimenting. The Altar of Fire makes you permanently stronger, so like you're constantly like, okay, well, like I want to see how much better I do this time. And compared to a lot of tactics games, the devs have kept the squad very small. Like, you're pretty much always choosing 5 members of your expedition. So these battles are a good bit tighter, and they move a little bit faster. And I really appreciate that too. Always keeps the experience moving forward. And to touch on the actual tactics gameplay itself, I would say it's really solid. If you've played Fire Emblem, you will be very comfortable here. You've got like your basic weapon triangle. Different types of weapons are better against different types of armor. Every character has 2 weapons, and you can swap between your weapons with their, different abilities as needed. That's kind of cool. There's no MP system. Instead, all of your abilities have cooldowns. And this is another thing that makes the gameplay so much snappier. You don't have to manage your magic or skill meters or anything like that. You can just jump into a battle, straight away start using all your best stuff. It's awesome. Just keeps things moving. There's some other standard stuff. You've got like different types of terrain you've got to consider. There's some really fun terrain interactions. If you're like hiding in the bushes and then it gets set on fire, it'll deal damage. Or or characters who go through water, you know, they get wet and now they're more susceptible to lightning and that kind of fun stuff. I would say my only real complaint about the game is it's the visuals, like when you're in battle. I'm playing on Switch. It may look different on other platforms, I don't know. But you know, the visuals are just, they're kind of basic. Not like terrible or anything, but just, you know, kind of low poly, low res, kind of simplistic. It's not a game with a huge budget, so I get it. And again, it's running on Switch, but it would be nice if it was maybe a little bit smoother. Overall though, so far, I've been really enjoying my time with Lost Eidolons, Veil of the Witch. Again, I love RPGs and I love tactics games, but they are very, very involved, and I often, I'm not the sharpest taco on the Christmas tree. I often get really overwhelmed by all of their various systems. And this game right here, it just brings such a, I want to say simplicity, but that's not to say that it lacks depth. You still get all of these great options for building your characters. It's just that the process of doing it is so much more streamlined. So I get the fun and satisfaction of that progression and that tactical gameplay, but the whole package is so much more approachable for me personally. It's so much easier for me to just jump in and do an expedition and see what happens. It feels like so much less of a commitment, you know? So it's just that much easier for me to keep picking back up. Once again, Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch is available right now on Switch, Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. Hit the link in the description to learn more and pick up the game for yourself. Ocean Drive Studio has been really cool to work with, and don't tell anyone this, but they've actually given me several codes to give away for free. I'll be doing that over on Blue Sky, so please follow me over there if you would like a chance to get one. Thank you for watching. I love you. Goodbye.